Thanks, Dan. That's really interesting. And thank you, Saluto, for organizing this event. Hi, everyone. Shalom. My name is Anja Wedberg. I do content strategy at UX Writing Hub. And I'm really sorry that I couldn't make it to Tel Aviv tonight. Apparently, there is some kind of virus out there. And I was told to avoid aeroplanes. So we will do this online. Okay, I will share my screen. There we go. And view the slideshow. Okay, so what I wanted to share today, together with Shmulik Albo, who is the Vice President of Design at Hibob, is a case study, a collaboration between the UX Writing Hub and Hibob. So I will run through the slides and then hand over to Shmulik, and he will talk about the project from his point of view. So I'll give you the background and what we did, how we did it, the challenges we had, and some insights at the end. So first of all, a little bit about the companies involved. So Hibob was founded in 2015 with the aim of modernizing human resources technology. They are present in New York, London, Tel Aviv, Amsterdam, and Australia as well, helping companies to streamline their HR processes. So Hibob is the company. The product, the app we worked on is Bob. It's an intuitive and data-driven platform for mid-sized and multinational businesses. Some of their customers include Kazoo, Gong, Hopin, Monzo, Happy Socks, Fiverr, and VaynerMedia. The UX Writing Hub, for those who don't know, was founded by Yuval Keschke in 2018. It's an educational platform for new, experienced, future writers in tech, and our kind of flagship course is the UX Writing Academy, which is the first and only UX writing and content design bootcamp in the world. Through the Academy, we have helped 350 writers from 50 countries to find a job. Now I see a message that I need to turn my video on. Okay, let me see if I can do that. Okay, you cannot start your video because the host has stopped it. So perhaps someone can help out with that. Okay. Now let's see.
Technical difficulties, sorry about that.
Okay, I've started my video. Is that better? Okay, sorry about that. So let's move on. So the UX Writing Academy, it's a 6-month program. And after the initial 12-week bootcamp, the students do a capstone project, which is a fictional project where they practice their research skills and work on a project flow and project screens of their own choice. And after that, they have the chance to join a real industry project internship for 4 to 6 weeks. And it's this internship that we collaborated with Hibob for earlier this year. So what can be achieved in just 4 to 6 weeks? So this is how we usually structure these projects. We start with 2 weeks of research. Then we have 2 weeks where we do the bulk of the UX writing and content design work. And then we have 2 weeks to finish up, prepare a research report and a presentation. And the last thing the students do is to present their research findings and recommendations to the company. So a little bit more about the product we worked on. So again, Bob is Hibob's HR app. It's a highly complex SaaS product. And one reason it's quite complex is that it's used by many different groups of people, not just HR staff, but also managers, employees, and IT staff. It's highly customizable depending on the permission level. So depending on your role, you might have quite a different interface and different user journey. So a few of our challenges. Well, first of all, the complexity of the product itself. And we were aware of this from the start, that this would be a challenge. Also, this was the first time Bob worked with UX writers. So we saw it as our mission to introduce UX writing to the company and hopefully give them some tools and some processes that they can start using beyond the scope of this project. To tackle this situation, we allocated a lot of students, and 9 of them worked together on this project. This is a lot. Usually we have 2 to 4, maybe 6 students on these projects. Another complication was that we were all spread out all over the world in 8 different time zones. Of course, this made it difficult to find times where we could all meet and keep the conversation flow going as well. And again, the time limitation is always a challenge. And we did extend it a little bit for this project. We ended up with around 7 weeks this time, but it was still a bit of a race against time. So how did we set this up? We had 3 PMs. At Bob, we had Shira Sneg, who did a fantastic job setting up this project and helping us facilitating everything. I believe she was also the one who initiated this project in the first place. So thank you for that, Shira. And then Yuval and I did our best to help the students and guide them in their work and identify the tasks for them. We started by setting up a very detailed brief so that the students could start working straight away, and so that they didn't have to spend time wondering what to do in the beginning. And this included specifying specific research tasks for them. The research we do kind of vary from project to project. In this case, we decided to do competitor analysis, some conversation mining, content audits of the relevant flows, and also a number of stakeholder interviews. And this last one was very useful for this particular project, again, because it allowed the students to get to know the product and the user's pain points as well. And then this was actually the most challenging thing in this project, identifying exactly which flows the students would work on and the tasks. We ended up with 3 teams, in-app messaging, setup flows, and then so-called post-setup flows and content style guide recommendations. And this was so difficult that we ended up engaging the whole design team for this. We created a survey where they could indicate their preferences and indicate which flows they prioritized the most. And based on that, we could then try to work out what would be a reasonable workload for the students, and also how can we make it meaningful for Bob. But once it took some work, definitely, but once we had this pinned down, so everyone knew what they were doing. And we also, even though we had 3 people in the in-app messaging team, for example, each students had their own specific area to work on. So we had one person working on error messages, one on notifications, and one on transactional emails. So after this initial step, the students could then really focus on the work. It was enough to have one weekly meeting, and the rest of the time we communicated on Slack. And then really due to the commitment of everyone in this project and the excellent work of the students, we were able to deliver at the end a full research report, revised user flows, revised in-app messages and transactional emails, and a content style guide. Very impressed with the work of all these students. And now it's really, really nice to see how these recommendations we provided have been transformed into action items at Bob. So they are now going through what we recommended and work through them to make the product better, improve the product. Shmuley can tell you a bit more about that in a bit. I just wanted to share a few insights and takeaways from this project, because it really wasn't easy and we all learned a lot, and I think that's why it's worth sharing as well. So first, a few insights from the students themselves. Here are a few comments we received at the end of the project. Now I understand why UX research is so important. People often say that writing is not the main part of UX writing. I totally get that now. UX writing really is very collaborative. And I think these comments are really interesting because it kind of illustrates the collaborative nature of UX writing, which I guess sets it apart from many other types of more traditional writing. And it's also interesting because it seems like the industry is still struggling a little bit with this element, and it's not easy for companies to know exactly how to do this and what to do with the UX writer, because we also get other comments from previous students, not necessarily from this cohort, but other groups. This kind of thing we hear. I was hired as a UX writer, but they put me in the marketing department. They know they need a UX writer, but they don't know what to do with me. My new employer has asked me to rewrite the whole product by Friday this week. This last message I received on a Tuesday. So this, I think, is very important insights actually. And of course, this is not the case in every single, every company and every UX writing job. There are many, many examples of places that have good processes in place and where it works well. But still, it's not rare that we get this kind of comment from ex-students. So I think it's a challenge for the industry as a whole. So finally, a few takeaways. Things that really helped us during this project is to start with a detailed brief, as detailed as possible. Be sure to identify tasks and goals and make them as specific as possible. At the same time, be prepared to adjust the brief and the goals as you go along. Allow time for research, meet regularly, and work closely with the design team and other stakeholders. If you're an experienced UX writer, maybe you look at this and think, nothing revolutionary here. At the same time, it seems like in projects where the end result is not so hot, some of these basic points have been missing at some point during the project. So that's it for me. I will just leave you with one last tip, and also connect to the general theme for this meetup today about collaboration. That you know, we always talk about how UX writing is not just about writing, it's never just about the words. Yeah? And actually, it's a good thing to keep in mind, I think, that as UX writers, it's a good idea to focus on writing a little bit less and talking a little bit more and keep collaborating.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for having me. Thank you, Val, for having me. Thank you, Soloto, Carmel. First of all, very happy to see you all. I have to say I'm not from the community. I'm a product designer, but quite an old one. Dinosaur. Almost 30 years. Quite a lot when I think about it. So yes, I'm in Hibob. I'm leading the product design team. And as Anya mentioned, I met Yuval through a colleague of mine, Shira, that she's working at our product marketing. And she somehow initiated this great project. And I have to say it was wonderful, and I love the opportunity to give the student the opportunity to actually feel the field. In most cases, I just talked to, I think, 2 students here. That I think I told them the most important thing when you are a student is to get some sense of what's happening out there. And in most cases, when you are a student, you are in a very holistic place, like you are playing around with this playground. And when I meet so many people that comes from any student format, is that I would love to have much more experience in the field. So they will be much more aware of where they are coming or what they need in the tool kit to somehow achieve their goals. So actually the experience with Yuval was absolutely fluent and great experience. We met the students. We actually initiate this lovely project with a very nice kickoff meeting. We, of course, describe all the function in Bob. I will not start to elaborate on Bob because Bob is a HRIS system. It's a very complicated system. And I think in a nutshell, we help people to run their workforce in a very, very useful, intuitive, engaged environment. If you look at the managing a workforce in the past, it's like a kind of spreadsheet system of records, payroll, pay slips, stuff like that, very gray area. So it's done deal. It's long time ago done deal. And Bob or Hibob understand it quite a lot, like a few years ago, even before COVID. But COVID just reflected in a very powerful way how much the workforce is a very, very important asset, how much we need to take care of our employees and maintain the work-life balance and everything they are experiencing in the environment they are working every day. If you think about it, it's almost half of our years, half of our lives, we are in a workforce or work environment. So, as I said, Hibob is a very complex SaaS application. And when we met the students, we need to actually start with research. So they met all the relevant stakeholders, as we mentioned here. And actually, it was a very, very useful process because they actually met specific PMs from specific fields and actually understand deeply what it needs to help us. We could not actually reflect all the problems. We have 3 weeks. How much it was? I forgot but it was quite a short period, almost a month. And as we said, 10 people. So we had to split it, and we split it to 3 groups. And after the research, they start working, and actually we found it very impressive because we had a very clear understanding from their approach as a novice users for the system, what is the actual experience, their experience. Like how we define the flow, we define the problem that we see, but actually they reflect that in a very neutral way. So that was a good advantage from my perspective. So for me, there are another users for the system, although they are not really the specific target audience as a persona from persona perspective. But after a while, they understand the problem, they understand the complexity, and they start actually showing us reference or any other examples to the problems that we need to reflect. Of course, the copy, the UX writing part was the most important one, because I see UX writing as a kind of a layer that reflects the relationship between you as a user and the product. The product is actually talking to you in specific point in specific times. So adding the right writing in the right time can actually give you a better user experience and helping you understand what you need to do in a specific point in time. So working with the students, actually, we identify those places and starting to tackle them. And the spreadsheet was the spreadsheet becomes bigger and bigger with more and more action items. But in the end of the day, you saw part of it. We got a very clear guidelines. We got a very clear actual solutions for different problems. And in the end, I think this is the most important part. We actually succeed to transfer them to an action item in the team, meaning it's not just standing on the wall. It's actually us, the team, getting these insights from the UX writers and putting them in the system. This is the whole point. And this is the whole point for me as an experience with the students, but this is the whole point for you as a UX writer in the team. Yeah, you have a role. You need to actually be part of the team. And I totally agree with Dan on the value that you bring. I think the community is getting there. As I said, I'm quite a lot of time in the field. So definitely in the last, I can say 10 years, you see a different move. And I think you see also the different approach from the big stakeholders, like the main stakeholders in each company, of the value of UX writing, of the value of the word in each time, in each place. So in general, I think our experience was great. I'm sure that the students got a lot of great feedback from working with real life product. So they are not doing just another student project. They're actually touching people, our clients. And this is important also for them, not for us. So I thought, at least from my point of view, it's a great experience for the students. And I'm sure that for Yuval and the team, it's a great opportunity to reflect this powerful engagement or experience with actual companies out there. As you saw, there is quite a lot unicorns here. So there is a lot of work to do. So you are part of that work. In general, if you have any question, I would love to share any insights. I think it was, as I said, great experience from our side, and we love to be part of it, to be part of the UX Writing Hub community and help you become a better ones, also in joining our team. Thank you.